Hey everybody, Lizzie Jarrett here, living live right now in the Domain, Sydney. We're here to tell the Australian government enough is enough with the illegal killing and illegal corruption that is black deaths in custody here. You see the parallel in the USA. It's time for Australia to get with it, get woke, help make change, get down to the Domain today, have your say.
Okay, we're here for the Aboriginal deaths in custody.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I've been shattered and broken by everything that's happened, like so many deaths, and it's so heartbreaking that in America the justice is being served there. There's never been any justice served here for me and my people, or any people that have, of the First Nations people. And for the people in custody, I'm just come here today to stand in solidarity for you and just let you know that you're supported and you're loved, and we're trying to make a change. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're here today at the Aboriginal Deaths in Custody and the Black Lives Matter movement here at the Domain, Tabagali. It's sacred Aboriginal land, it's Gadigal people in this area. It's so great to see so many people coming in solidarity, and we all have got something to say. We want to give, and we want the oppression to stop in this land, because we're all people, and that's what I love about Australia and the multiculturalism behind it. People want equality, and First Nations people have been largely ignored, even up until now. The Black Lives Matter movement in Australia for Aboriginal people has been going for a very, very long time, since the 1930s, and right through into the 50s and to the 80s, right up until now. And even though there's still a strong police presence and colonial presence here, people want to make a change. It doesn't have to be the way it has been throughout the rest of the world. Australia is different, Australia is new. Yeah. So Black Lives Matter.
Warami, Garigunura, Walamabemi, Inuna, Bialawa, Ngay Nailang, Budri, Darabara, Yanu. Welcome to Gadigal land. Jabagali is the language name for this area, for the domain. This is a very sacred area, and we can look and see the circle. Our people used to hold the corroborees here on this land, so it's a very sacred land, and we're treating it as such, as the traditional descendants. And we're bringing the ceremony back. We are here, we always have been here, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. We have not ceded our sovereignty, and we will gather and we will speak on our land. Our ancestors are here. I can feel them. The energy's strong, and there's a lot of power here today. Our lawmen are here doing our sacred ceremonies and speaking our sacred words that have been handed down over 65,000 years. This is our land, and we will hold our ceremonies and gatherings on our land, on our sacred Mother Earth. Our ancestry, we are connected to different tribes in Sydney area. The Dharawal, Bidjigal, the Darug, the Gadigal, Barabarangal, Wongal, and also we have connection to the Yuan tribe, Umbara Black Duck, which I have tattooed on my wrist. And this old girl done that. I'm 70 years old because I want to keep strong my culture. And the black duck is my totem, one of my totems. And the possum skin cloak, the possum is our totem from the Gadigal people. And that's why everything that we do is connected to culture and art. We've done our burning on the cloak of our totems and our bush medicines and things, symbols that are very important and significant to us. So we're all here gathered today, all together, with all our brothers and sisters and our MUA mob, our Wharfie mob, because we're lifelong members of the Wharfs. My father, the late Chicka Dixon, was a political activist, and he learned everything that he knew. It was taught on the Wharfs, and he acknowledged that, about his public speaking, about strategic planning, and about the world politics. So here I am, his daughter and granddaughter, following in footsteps of the fox. And we just wanted to let you know a little bit about our background. Do you want to say a little bit more? We're not going to take too long, because this is about Black Deaths Matter. That's what this is about justice.
Hey, Nadina Dixon. I'm Nadina Dixon, and I just want to send love to everyone for the unity and strength that we're gathering as one people here. We're standing up against oppression, we're standing up against wrong, and also to remember our brothers and sisters all around the world, and that we will hold strong the memories. We will speak the names, and we will speak the names of George Floyd, and all our brothers and sisters around the world, because we're all watching. The world is watching, and we're going through a social conscious shift, and now's the time, because that wind's coming. So the winds change.
Thank you, Auntie Rhonda and Auntie Nadina, for giving us a welcome today on Gadigal country. I just want to reintroduce myself. My name is Gavin Stanbrook. I'm from Gumbaynggirr country on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. I'm an organiser for the campaign for justice for Barraville. The woman on my shirt here is my first cousin who was murdered in the 1990s. So I'm here standing representing my community in solidarity with Black Lives Matter around the world. And I'll pass over to my sister.
Thank you, Brother Gavin. Hey, I'm Lizzie Jarrett, your mob. Another deadly Gumbaynggirr. That's my little brother there, he's pretty deadly, eh? Yeah, but yeah, as you heard, we're from Barraville. Anyone who knows the word Barraville, you know what happened to our babies. So we're not, we're used to this, we know what we're doing. And we're so grateful that all of you came out today to hear the call, to be here, to make real change. Not just stand in the streets and scream around. This is about real change, and it's going to start here today with Auntie Rhonda, Sister Nadina leading the way, letting us know who is the law of this land. So thank you again, my beautiful auntie, sister over there. Thank you, Brother Gavin. Thank you to everybody that helped support me and the families to make today happen. MUA, here to stay. Yeah, I'm making sure, and thank you to every single family that shares the tears I do. Auntie, uncles, brothers, sisters, everyone, and overseas, all you mob, thank you, because you know what, this is a start, we're not going to finish, this is the momentum starting. Here, look how many people we have here. Yeah, praise yourselves. So yeah, I'm going to leave it short and sweet, and we're going to start by introducing a beautiful auntie of mine who helped start this, because sadly 5 years ago you could watch my cousin David Dungay be murdered by correctional guards. And actually, yeah, thank you. And yeah, sadly Australia, you weren't with us in these numbers back then. But then we turned the TV on last month and we watched an innocent brother from overseas. So much respect going out to anybody who's a Floyd family member right now. We watched him die in the most similar circumstances as my cousin David Dungay. So yeah, sadly we had to wait till another black man died on camera to have this happen. But now it's happening, and it's going to keep happening. Keep coming with us, because we love you. Trust me, we are the love. The people in blue are the hate. Let's get it right. And on that note, I'm going to welcome my beautiful auntie, Latona Dungay. Where she is, there she is, in the red. Must take after Denise. Come on now, my auntie.
I'd like to say thank you to the Gadigal people for having all of us here today. All of us peoples that lost a son and a daughter of Gadigal land, to have us here today to march. And this is the most central place to march, because this is where all our people come and learn how to work in the white man's way, in the white man's law. And this is what we got to put up, and we've been through it with our ancestors and with our future now. They are still playing with us. When are we all going to stand up? And I like to see what I'm seeing here on the 28th of July without no corona. Let's pull this town down, because this town, they're desecrating our land, they're burying our graves, they're pulling them down to take our recognition away as Aboriginal people. And this has got to stop. And see these blue coats? I'm going to march today on my Mother Earth, the cultural land of our people, and we are going to march. on our land where you put our people under the ground where we are going to walk. And we should be entitled to walk on our land. What you've taken away. Because my son was killed for a biscuit. And you pulled guns out. You pulled weapons out on my son over a packet of biscuit and killed him. You sent him home to me in a plastic bag, black bag. But you, the autopsy report, I'm getting you investigated. And if I can get all the help from all the death in custodies, we should fight for all coroners, judges to be re-read again and be recharged again. Let's pull this up from the past to the present, from cold cases. Let's make this happen, and this is the only time we could do it, and that's right now. We will be careful with the corona. We wasn't given. We are the second citizens. They were brought over on ships and on planes to us second citizens. And I reckon we should stand up and still walk with hand distance and march. And let's show that black lives do matter. You killed our black people. We are marching.
Justice today for David Dungay! Justice today! Justice today! Justice today! Justice today! Thank you, Auntie, for coming up here and saying those words. Auntie is the leader of a movement. She has inspired thousands in this country. She has given people a backbone to stand up and say fuck the hypocrisy when they try and tell us not to march, when they try and tell us not to protest, because apparently they're worried about big crowds, but they don't give a shit about the football, they don't give a shit about the Saturday markets. Do you say anything about that? No! They want us to stop protesting because protests work! Protest, get justice! So I want to second that call that Aunt made. Because we are never going to get justice until we start taking the shit back, until we start taking the streets, until we start shutting things down. So thank you, Auntie. Thank you for saying that. Now I want to welcome up another strong sister, someone who's been fighting for the murder of her son for years now, a couple of years. His name's Torres Chatfield. Say his name! Torres Chatfield! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! Please welcome Niagara and Colin Chatfield.
Hello people, thank you all for being here today. Bring this solidarity together for black deaths in custody. This is my son Tani. He was murdered at the hands of correctional service officers at Tamworth. We didn't even get a phone call from corrective services. We were approached by our daughters. Tani, to me, this is a horrible thing that I don't want anybody to go through ever again in my life. They said my son hung himself standing up, kneeling down. How's it possible? But yet he's got bruises all over his body, marks all over his neck, and he's laying in hospital. So cold these bastards were. They had my son on a breathing machine telling us he was alive and had a chance to come home, but he was dead all along from the moment we arrived. You know, it was so sad. I'm sleeping at night and I'm tossing and turning and I'm thinking about the horror that my son went through, you know. And I hear my wife some nights, she's crying while she's in her sleep, and I'm, darling, are you all right? What's the matter? She goes, I don't know, babe, I think my spirit's crying out for son. I said, you're not wrong, because here you are full on in tears, crying in your sleep. I haven't even seen anybody do that in my life. You know, like, we want justice for our boy, and for all cold cases, and the rest of black deaths in custody. I'm also like Anatana, I want to call all black deaths in custody together, and let's bring our brothers and sisters back up and get proper investigations going. We've got to get this law where corruptive services investigate corruptive service, police investigate police. You know, I call it the monster's loophole. They've been using that from day one, people, to get away with murdering us. But with all your people's votes, signatures, petitions, we can get this law changed and have independent investigations. We need 5% people, 5% of votes, petitions to change this law and get us a fair go. You know, once again, I want to thank you all for showing up, because all your spirits are empowering us. You're empowering me and my wife and the rest of the speakers. So I just want to thank you all for being here and bringing us together as solidarity. Black Lives Matter! I'll hand it to my wife. Thank you.
I want to say that we come in love. I want to thank you all for coming and take your Sunday out to come and be with us and hear our stories. I want to tell you about that day that we got that call from our daughters about our son being like that. They said you can have an emergency visit with Tani. I was expecting our boy to be sitting up saying, Mum, they're bashing me. Colin didn't tell you that our boy was naked under that sheet at the hospital. He only had a pair of hospital socks on. They violated him. They stripped him down but left the handcuffs in the room that he was laying in the bed on. You know, we find out that there's a tunnel going from Tamworth Correctional Centre to the hospital across the road. It took 45 minutes before the ambulance could get to my boy. They get there and the machines are not even on. They're not even pumping. When they're pumping him, the machine's not even on, so they're doing it for nothing. Taking time out to make sure that his brain was dead. We get to the hospital and the girls say, what's that beep? The senior nurse says, oh, that's only his brain dying. How many more lives does Australia want? I said on Invasion Day, why ain't I equal like the woman in Russia? Why ain't I equal like the woman in Fiji? Why ain't I equal to the same woman in Nigeria? I've got black skin. The government of Australia, their blanket oppresses us. It's time now to rise as a nation. second oldest, he was only 22. He left me one grandson. I had to send him to Canberra because our inquest is in 2 weeks. He's saying, Nan, I know why you're going down there. Because you're going down, I see what the coppers and how they bomb my dad. When he talks about bomb, he's talking about death. You're going down to talk to him, man. He thinks I'm going in the room and speaking to all these fellas in blue out here. These fellas live in our communities before they put their uniform on.
That's right.
Why does it take them fellas to have that uniform on before they come our enemies? Why does that uniform make them different to my red shirt here? This is my uniform that I have to wear. I want to tell my story about my boy. The innocents. Every jail he went to, he got bashed. I went on a visit and I see him. One officer walks up and says, how you going, Chatfield? Like if his shit didn't stink. You know? And he said, Mum, don't even say nothing. He just spat on me and hit me up there before I walked out here to see ya. The treatment that our kids get. I was on Facebook the other day and I look at this artist and she's got all these little Aboriginal dolls up out of the ground. They used to play polos with our babies' heads. Isn't enough enough?
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. It's 2020, people. Stand up in your communities. Make a change in your communities. Don't save up for the football. Save up for the next life. Black boys matter. Our sons mattered. Our daughters mattered. Our motherland matters. The hurt now. My leg's shaking. People, enough is enough, eh? Please, I'm coming to ask you together. Every time there's something on TV about blackness in custody, think about us crying mothers out here telling us our stories. It's painful and it hurts. You know, it becomes a chronic sickness. When they kill your kids, have they got a tablet, a morphine tablet for my chronic sickness? No, they don't. Our brothers over there in America, in Africa, we're all got black skin and we've got to unite. I love you people. Remember my son's name. His name's Tony Chatfield. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
Thank you, Nigel and Colin. Now, before we welcome our next speaker up, I think it's about time to say something about these statues. Because you got people crying on the media because of bullshit statue like Captain Cook or that scum coming in the quarry. They're worried about them getting torn down. Why do we want to tear them down? Because they're fucking lies! They're racists! They're slavers! They're colonizers! They're genocidal maniacs! What does it say about this country? What does it say about this country? That when one statue is threatened, 3 rows of riot cops are standing surrounding it. 2 weeks ago, go look in the media, 2 weeks ago they stood and circled that bloody statue. Then we're here today because prison officers murdered David Dungay and they didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. The correctional officers let them go. We're here today because the correctional officers murdered Tino Chatfield and the government didn't give a shit. All those people coming about a statue, You don't hear him saying shit. So that's the first thing. Second thing about the statues. The Governor Macquarie statue was built in 2013. Right? You all need to know that. Wasn't built in 1900s. Wasn't built in the 1800s. It was built in 2013. At a time when they knew what that scumbag did. They know that he issued the order to kill and hang from the neck every Aboriginal person from Sydney to the north, from Sydney to the south. He said that in 2013 they knew, and they still erected a statue for him. I really would encourage everyone to go out and see what that statue says. But because I've got the luxury of the internet, I'm going to find it for you. Just 1 second. Alright, I can't find it. Anyway, it's going to take too long. Basically it said that he was a hunky-dory bloke. He loved Christ. He did alright in the state as a governor. He was alright, that's what it says. Bullshit! That man committed genocide. Blood are on his hands, and it's a disgrace that that statue stands here today. And they talk about history. They go, oh no, we're just worried about history. We want to tell history. What about the 46,000-year-old site blown up by Rio Tinto? That's Aboriginal history. That's our heritage. What about that? Cricket to hear nothing because they don't give a shit. Because the history they want to tell is a history where we are nothing and they deserve everything. Well, I say fuck that. Now I want to welcome my sister up as a community organiser out in the western suburbs. Her name's Majeda Binti. She's been organising, sorry my voice, Black Lives Matter. Majeda, are you in the crowd with us today? Please make her welcome.
Hi everybody, how's everyone doing today? You guys sound kind of tired. How's everyone doing today? I want you guys to make some noise. Make some noise just for the people here, just so they know we're here. Alright, my name is Majidamo Tapalinga Biti. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and I pay my respects to the elders, both past, present and future, as they hold the memories, traditions, cultures and the hopes of Indigenous Australia. I would also like to acknowledge other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people present here today. I would like to state trigger warnings as I will be mentioning suicide and rape. It's important for me to give my condolences to the Dungay family and pay my respect. Thank you for allowing me to have this space here today. Now, for the past 15 years, I've been working in schools around Australia and corporate spaces sharing my Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture through song and dance. My mother is an Aboriginal woman. We are Kukuyalanji Wutati from far north Queensland, Torres Strait Islander from Moa and Darnley Island, and my father is a Black American man from the city of New York. I stand here representing all three of my people, all three diverse cultures. In regards to the murder of George Floyd, Scott Morrison said, as upsetting and terrible that the murder that took place, and it is shocking, I just think to myself how wonderful a country Australia is. I have a question for everyone. Was Australia wonderful when the land was defined as terra nullius, or a wasteland, because the invaders said there were only a few natives along the coast? They apparently deduced that there would be fewer or none inland. Their observations were soon proven incorrect. The governors of the first settlements soon found that Aboriginal people lived inland and had territories and associations with land on a spiritual and inheritance basis. Nonetheless, they did not amend the terms of British sovereignty. Was it wonderful when Aboriginal people faced genocide at the hand of white settlers, when our children were stolen, our women raped? We recognize this oppressive pattern when we look at the anti-intervention. This has had a crucial effect on the Aboriginal people from this area. Many more Aboriginal children are being forcibly removed from their family and their culture. An increase in young suicide and huge spike in self-harm, an increase of the number of Indigenous people in prison. We must do better for our children. Now, I would like to address the transphobia and homophobia queer black people face within our community. There are issues and deaths that go unnoticed and unspoken about. If your activism is not intersectional, you can keep it. It furthers the influence of white supremacy upon our communities. When we say Black Lives Matter, we speak on all black lives, trans, queer, disabled. We go nowhere without inclusivity. As separate black groups of the First Nation people, Black American people, and African Australians, we have to ensure we're making space for each other. Do not alienate any black people from this narrative. Listening to and understanding one another will allow us to unify and defeat the shared issue at hand, which is systematic racism. We have something special. We have the opportunity to make change, to make actual difference, to heal the generational trauma inflicted by colonization. To our allies, support, uplift, and stand by your black peoples. Stop black deaths in custody, defund the police and prisons, build communities, shut youth prisons, bring the children home, stop the anti-intervention. This always was and it always will be Aboriginal land. I would just like to share a piece that I wrote about George Floyd. As a daughter of a black man, as a girlfriend to a black man, I am scared for their lives. It's not right. So I would just like to share this one piece and then I'll be done. I didn't realize having a white police officer kill me with the weight of his knee piercing into my neck would be the last thing on my to-do list today. I forgot to add it after minding my business while black. You claimed I resisted arrest, but video proof proves this false. I begged for you to stop, but you ignored my pleas. You weren't alone. You were guided by your posse, ready to rip into any bystander try come in between me and my killer. I can't breathe. The country despised when Kaepernick kneeled, but now, when this white scum takes a knee to my neck, this is why we say Black Lives Matter, because I am not the only occurrence. I add to the countless black lives ended too soon. Murdered. George Floyd, we say his name. David Dungay Jr., we say his name. My name is Majida Mo Tapalinga BT. Thank you for having me. ACAB! 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 Period! Put some respect on our name.
Thank you, sister. Keep that fire burning. Keep that solidarity. Keep the people are the power. So right now I got the beautiful choice of introducing my brave, deadly nephew, Paul Silver, who is a nephew of David Dungay. And I'm sure you've all probably seen his face around. And on Friday we led a Kempsey rally. And we took over the Kempsey Bridge. And yeah, exactly. It's not easy to do that kind of shit. So here's my nephew. Thank you.
G'day, how you going everyone? My name's Paul Silver. I'm David Dungay Jr.'s nephew. As you all know, I've been fighting for justice for him and our family for the past 5 years. For those that don't know the circumstances around David Dungay Jr., on the 29th of December 2015, he was secured in his cell when a lady corrective officer related to one of the guards that run the IAT team called in her husband, which runs the IAT team, to storm the cell and remove the biscuits. They did not remove the biscuits. They held David Dungay Jr. down in a prone position, which is face down, and puts him at risk of positional asphyxia. In both cases with David Dungay Jr. and George Floyd, both guys begged for their life, saying they cannot breathe. Shame! How disgusting is that? My family and many other families had to sit and watch video footage of our loved one being murdered by 5 individuals. We stand 5 years later, not one person has been disciplinary action taken against them or been punished in any single way. There needs to be systematic change in our justice system to prevent Aboriginal deaths in custody. Well, there was a Royal Commission, but that did fuck all. People still dying. So we're going to continue to demand the justice for David Dungay Jr., all black deaths in custody, until there's systematic change in our justice system and our Aboriginal people can walk free on the land that we fucking own. We own this land, we have for so many years. We don't need police. We've policed this land for so many years and cared for it. Now look at it, we can't even walk our own streets and demand justice. Our family sat through the white people's court. We've got no accountability towards the people that was involved. So this is our fight. We walk the streets and we demand change. And as a result, there will be change and people will be held accountable for the death of David Dungay Jr. And I'm going to keep fighting until they put me in the ground. No justice, no peace, no racist police. No justice, no peace, no racist police. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Paul. Now, we had a young brother here, Dobby. People might know who he is. Yeah? He's a musician. He's based here in Sydney. He's a young black artist getting out there, getting his risk out. And he's been writing a bunch of tracks around black deaths in custody and standing in solidarity with our community. I'll let Brother talk about himself really quickly, and he's going to give you a bit of a piece from something that he's written recently in solidarity with black deaths in custody. Please make him welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Dubby. My name is Ryan Clapham. I go by the name Dubby. I'm a proud Murawari and Filipino musician. My family is from Brewarrina, northwest New South Wales. My grandmother was born and raised in Nyambaa country, Brewarrina. And my ancestral lands are 1 hour north in Wilmaringal. So I'd just like to perform it. Thank you so much, Arnie, for this. And I'm going to perform a song. Thank you so much to Wonderland and Janelle Monáe for this track. They've been performing it in the States, and I thought we needed our own version here. So I'm going to be saying a lot of our names who have died at the hands of police in custody. So please, please say their names with me and yell with me. Thank you. Hickey, say his name. TJ Hickey, say his name. TJ Hickey, say his name. TJ Hickey, won't you say his name? Say his name. 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 Won't you say his name?
TJ Hickey!
Elijah Doherty, say his name. 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 Patrick Fisher, 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 won't you say his name? Tanya Day, say your name. Tanya Day, say your name. Tanya Day, say your name. Won't you say your name? Say your name. 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 Y'all ready? Morangi Dumachi, say his name. Morangi Dumachi, say his name. Morangi Dumachi, say his name. Say his name. Bobby Shillingsworth, say his name. Bobby Shillingsworth, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Mark Quayle, say his name. Mark Quayle, say his name. Mark Quayle, say his name. Won't you say his name? Say his name. 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 Won't you say his name? Yeah. Tracy Inglis, say your name. Tracy Inglis, say your name. Say your name. Say your name. Eric Whitaker, say his name. Eric Whitaker, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Mr. 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 Say your name. 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 Won't you say your name? Joyce Clark, say your name. Say your name. Say your name. Won't you say your name? Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray, say his name. Say his name. Won't you say his name? Tony Chatfield, say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Won't you say his name? Say his name. 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 Won't you say his name? Damn. Say his name. Kumanjaya Walker. Say his name. Kumanjaya Walker. Say his name. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. David Dungay. Say his name. David Dungay. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say the 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 name. Won't you say the name? the name, say the name, say the name.
Thank you, Brother Dummy. Round of applause for Dummy. Alright, I'm just going to introduce you all very quickly to young Michaela Reynolds. Michaela is the sister of Nathan Reynolds. He was murdered in 2018 in New South Wales by correctional officers. Another family fighting for justice for their loved one. Please make them welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm standing here with my two sisters, Talia and Labrie. We are all standing here for Nathan Reynolds today. Nathan died in John Moroney Correctional Centre due to an asthma attack. It took 40 minutes for help to arrive to Nathan's aid. Nathan was treated for a drug overdose. There was no drugs in Nathan's system. So it took 40 minutes for help to arrive. All the boys in John Moroney Correctional Centre were the only people keeping him alive. I'll let my sister speak.
The corrections officers don't care about our people in there. They don't care about them. They just leave them there sick. We lost our brother in there, and yet another brother of ours, they left there sick with pneumonia for 2 weeks.
My brother lost a brother. He was also coughing up blood, and they still did not give Shannon the help he needed. He got x-rays, and at the last minute they rushed him to the hospital. His lungs were full of fluid. Also didn't let our family know that Shannon was in hospital, sick with pneumonia.
I just want to say thanks for Auntie Latoya and the Dungay family. You've given me the strength that I needed to come out here and do this stuff. I took it for granted that this would never happen to our family. Yous give us the strength to stand here today and fight justice for my brother. What lives matter?
What lives matter? Black lives matter! What lives matter? Black lives matter! Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Michaela, and your sisters. I really appreciate that. Now, I just want everyone to make sure they go and check out Facebook for the campaign for justice for Nathan Reynolds and for all the other campaigns that are happening here today. Now, I want to welcome your next auntie to the stage. Her name's Auntie Helen Russell, and she's been fighting for the campaign for justice for Edward Russell for years now. She's sitting over here. Because Auntie's in the chair, I'm going to bring the mic down to her. So if everyone could please still stay seated. But Auntie's going to speak in the mic so you'll be able to hear her. Please make Auntie Helen welcome.
Hello, my name is Ellen Russell. This is my husband Ted. Actually, we lost a boy in Long Bay Jail, but he was bashed by 11 coppers before he went to jail. Ted and I have grown up a lot of children, some of our own and many other extended family. We don't discriminate between our children. We love them all, but we always had a special place for Edward. Eddie, as we called him, because he was our first. Eddie was a beautiful child in the words of the great song by Archie Roach. Eddie was a beautiful child who grew up too soon. Eddie had a generation art special needs. This meant that he needed special looking after of the kind of what we could give him. It's not There was so much pain for Eddie after he was separated from us by the justice system. So many things we've done wrong to Eddie that is hard to list them all. It's hard for me to talk about all the abuse that Eddie suffered. Since I know and I should have been stopped. Eddie needs should have been recognised. He should have been cared for, not abused and mistreated with neglect. Eddie was only 17 years old when the Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody reported in May 1991. The justice system should have been fixed before Eddie came into contact with it. As a result of abuse, he suffered from an abuse of pain for our Eddie. There were so many abuse that Eddie suffered in the justice system. I will talk briefly about the different type of abuse. The first abuse from a carload of police arrested Eddie on the 11th of December 1993 on a country road outside Oberon after a car chase. This was 2 years after the Royal Commission had made its recommendation. If those police did not know that Eddie had special needs, they should have treated him with respect. Instead, they bashed him badly, insulted him with racist words. We know this because the farmer heard those noises police were making and he recorded that he saw. Eventually, the evidence was the farmer meant, and Ted and I won the case against the police for racial discrimination. This was not good, but sad. This is the court finding against the police happening after Eddie had died in Long Bay Jail. Eddie had a sore hand for a long time and bashing by the police, but no one in the gold system asked him why was his hand sore. Probably from the handcuff. Eddie was always wanted to know if anything was going to happen to those coppers who bashed him. Even though we won the case, the police were not charged with the assault. They should have been charged. They should have been sacked for the bashing a young black man who was all alone at night. The second abuse was in the error in the legal system. This occurred in two parts. The first one was when Eddie was sentenced for a crime. We resulted the abuse he suffered from. He had special needs and difficulty, and explained carefully for him. He could not understand. The solicitor accepted a prison sentence. Eddie, that was 7 years. When Eddie heard him say he thought it was only 7 months. The sisters should have done this properly and not accepted a 7-year sentence for Eddie. The second part of the legal system abuse happened when Eddie had an appeal against his sentence, and it aired in 1995. The tragedy for Eddie, that was out the judges, only one could see Eddie's special needs, especially his need to have close contact with his parents. 2 of the judges refused to see Eddie's special needs. It didn't happen that the one judge who saw Eddie's special needs, and most senior judge, the great judge who was very respectful in Australia and overseas for his concern for human rights. Under the Australian legal system in the New South Wales concern for Eddie's welfare shown by this judge was ignored just because the other 2 judges did not agree with him. Under the legal system of Aboriginal justice, this would not have happened. Words of the senior judge, and the fact that they saw the needs for Eddie to have close contact with us should have been aired awfully tragedy for us. That a clear view of the senior judge and respected that Eddie would have been released on parole 99 within the 6 months before he died in Long Bay. The third and fourth abuse Eddie suffered happened in the New South Wales prison system. Some years after the Royal Commission into Aboriginal deaths in custody, there were a lot of ways in which the system did not recognise Eddie's special needs and did not care for him. They had legal duty of care towards Eddie, but they failed completely to see this and treated Eddie with respect. One of the key recommendations from the Royal Commission was number 168, which stated that inmates should be kept as close as possible to where the families lived. This was ignored in Eddie's case because he was subject to false classification, rape. It should have been put on him and should have been changed. A lot of people, including us, protest about it. Eddie was so scared in Walgett when he was in the police station there that he ran out of the police station and hid in our van, which was parked across the corner. We didn't even know he was there. He was not trying to run away, he was just scared. But the prison system always labelled him with an E classification, which they used for escape, someone who had escaped from jail. We tried so many years to get the E classification changed. At one time, Ted and I even take to the prison farm where people in the prison system realised it would be a place where Eddie might have his special needs recognised. The prison seemed so good, but Eddie was never sent there because of the E classification. That meant he had to be kept in maximum security. We even had friends in the Aboriginal deaths in custody with committee right corrective services about urgent get the class out changed, but nothing happened. The system even changed that false E classification, major reason why Eddie died. The last form of abuse Eddie suffered in the prison system was how he was treated with extreme neglect. Instead of having his special needs recognised, there were many different examples of this neglect. One example, moving Eddie around a lot from maximum security from jail to jail. This was the wrong way to treat an inmate with special need. Extreme failure to care for Eddie. It was expressed for the artist John Douglas, who video artwork how bad Eddie was mistreated by the prison system. This artwork was by John, who displayed the Injustice art exhibition in Newcastle in 2018. John's piece was called No System to Fail, which meant there was no system to care for Eddie. Eddie was then 7 years when he was 7 years, and Eddie had in say he's 7 months. Oh no, I read all that up, you know. And when my son died in jail, me and my sister drove my brother to Canamble, hour and a half away. Yeah. My son died on the 3rd of December, and I got the message about Eddie on the 4th. So I drove the hour and a half to Canamble to go to court with my brother, and when I went to Canamble, I was going to the post office to send my son $100, and a field officer ran after me and said, "Ellen, you got to ring Long Bay Jail." I rang Long Bay Jail and I got the message about my son. My son died on the 3rd. I got the message on the 4th about 12 o'clock. I got the message about my son Eddie. I rang up in a public telephone and I just screamed my head off, and I don't even know what happened to the $100. And my husband was out chipping cotton and he had it all over the news that someone died in jail, and he didn't even get the message till next day. He was chipping cotton. So yeah. Don't say no.
Please thank Auntie Helen. And I've just been told that's the first time artists come to speak. And it's been decades, the 90s I think, since they did what they did. So thank you, Auntie. And I just want to welcome up some speakers from the Murray family. Now everyone should know who the Murray family are. But if you don't, I'll just give you a bit of a rundown and they're going to tell you more. The Murray family, they're fighting for justice for Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray is the son of Arthur and Leela Murray, some of the most powerful and incredible activists for black rights in this country's history. So there's a lot of legacy behind these people, a real rich movement for black rights. So please make them feel welcome. Please come up and follow us.
Thanks for coming and supporting us today, all the families. My name's Kaya Patton. I'm the grandchild of Arthur and Leela Murray. My grandparents, Arthur and Leela Murray, fought against black death in custody. They lost their son, my Uncle Eddie, who I was never able to meet, when he died at the hands of the police in custody back in 1981. His name is Eddie Murray. He was apprehended for being drunk, and police say he killed himself in his cell 45 minutes later. He was happy, he was waiting on a check, and he was waiting to come back to Sydney to be picked to go to New Zealand and play football. He never killed himself. He had a life ahead of him. 39 years, our family have been fighting for justice. Police have lied in their inquest, and my grandparents Arthur and Leela Murray fought a long time before most other people were fighting, all through the 80s in marches and meetings and speeches. They wanted the Royal Commission into Eddie's death and all the others that kept happening, and they finally got it too. Uncle Eddie's death was one of the first to be investigated. But the inquiry in Uncle Eddie's death was poor. The findings show police evidence was unreliable or police had lied. But it was never asked why the police felt the need to lie. Why should they lie if Eddie committed suicide? So my grandparents Arthur and Leela kept fighting. They had a book published, Too Much Wrong, by the Newcastle Legal Centre. It argued that they should look into other places where more evidence could be found in Uncle Eddie's grave. Pop Arthur and Leela didn't want to exhume his body. It went against everything as we believe in as Aboriginal people. But they agreed to it and it was done, and there was new evidence found. His sternum and his chest bone was broken. This wasn't known before. They waited a long time for a new report that was recommended that there should be a new inquiry, but there never has been. Our family is still waiting today. There's no justice for Aboriginal people in Australia. Walk into any jail in this country and you'll see that. Look at all the families sitting here and you'll see that. Too many of us locked up, too many trapped in the system, and too many who die inside. We need a reform of the policy, and we want the police to work with us more effectively. We want to be understood culturally. Aboriginal culture says we shouldn't speak of the names that are dead, that they can't rest if we do. My grandparents Arthur and Leela Murray died waiting to hear the truth. I want you to say their name. I want you to say my Uncle Eddie's name. I want you to say the rest of the mob here that has passed away in the hands of the system. Say their names. Don't forget their names. Say their names! We want justice for Uncle Eddie, for my Pop Arthur and Nan Leela, and for all our mob who have died and bashed or who have lost someone to the system. We've waited almost nearly 40 years. Well, guess what? We'll wait another if we have to. We're not going anywhere. We'll wait another 40 after that. Just remember one thing as well before I leave. 29 years since the Royal Commission, and there's been 400, and I'm pretty sure now 349? Oh no, sorry, that's 348 months and 433 deaths. No answers, no convictions, and no justice. Since.
I'm Marlene Murray. I'm Eddie's younger sister, along with my sister Lorraine. I'd like to say thank you. But we are here today for justice for my brother. You know, Mum and Dad, we fought and fought, you know, for justice. Not only just for my brother, for John Pat, the Dixon family, Lloyd Boney, and we fought, and they fought. We're not going to go away. We're going to still stand here, and we're going to fight. What the justice system stinks. What the coppers are doing to our people stink. And they're still doing it today. We might walk away from here today and something will happen to our people. You know, the coppers don't give a fuck. Once you're in their land, in their system, that's it. You got no say. No one can hear you scream. No one can hear you say help. Because you're under their fucking rules. And all I can say, fuck the system. My family and my sisters come from Weewar, Moree, and we sat with the police commissioner. You know what this bastard said to us? We'll give you an answer in 2 months' time. And we're still fucking waiting for that fucking answer. They're not going to give us the answer. My parents fought and fought. And I tell you what, we're going to keep on fighting. And we're going to fight and we're going to get that answer. For my brother and for every other family that got killed in police custody. We're not going to go away. Too much wrong. See this book? That's what the coppers, that's what they do. They kill our people. They don't give a fuck what anyone's saying.
Come in here, brothers. Why don't you come and stand with me? G'day, everybody. My name's Wes Patton. Born and raised in Redfern. I'm a proud Gadigal man. Country you're living on today. We're here today to make a stand. Say, let's fucking get fair income about looking after our communities. I'll tell you a little yarn. See, us Redfern blokes, we've always been the troublemakers. Always protesting like we are today. Always saying we want human rights, be treated like people, like everybody else. If you don't know Jack Putt, who was the president of the Aboriginal Progressive Association, the first Aboriginal organisation. Started the Abo War. The Abo War was the newspaper that gave us the voice. We travelled around the East Coast, and like blokes from all over the country to send in their horrific events. Genocide that we faced. It gave us a voice promoted across the country. I'm going to read out a speech that
We cannot be bettered. How important that is? Give us a chance.
It is my desire that all black people, all First Nations people, all non-white people and their organizations should from this point forward continue our pathway to unity so that the welfare and well-being of our people is guaranteed and that this storm of racial hatred and violence is extinguished. And wholesale massacre, slavery, and family separation. Australia is a crime scene. Take it home with you. Take it to your dinner table. Take it to your place. We need this. We need this every minute of every single day. If not, you take. You've seen what they do. You take one eye, 1 second away from these monsters, and what do? They'll blame it on you, just like they did to Torres. They'll blame it on you, just like they did to Torres. They'll blame it on you, just like they did to David Duncan. You ain't taking your eyes off us for 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. That's for 1 minute. What happened? The conversation was over.
I'm just going to head off down to the ferry.
I want to see the reopening of these cases. You know what I'm saying? Right now. For all my brothers and sisters who fall to the hand of these directions of these racist private police, we need independent medical examination of all of these people. Along with reconciliation.
To our brothers in Tamil Nadu, solidarity with the Tamil people, justice for Black Lives Matter everywhere! Thank you. Alright, I just got to remind you again, my name's Gavin. We're going to wrap up very shortly, but I'm going to hand it over to Lizzie to introduce our next speakers.
And on that note, I thank every single one of you for helping get this happening today. And here's the deadly brother, the leader, spokesperson today. I won't call him a leader, I want someone to get in trouble. Paul from MUA.
Thanks very much, comrades and friends. I want to firstly thank all of the magnificent speakers here today who have spoke so passionately and articulately about the nature of the struggle about the oppression and brutality that you've experienced for the last 250 years. It's incredibly humbling for a middle-aged white wharfie to be given the opportunity to not only participate today, but also to speak. My name is Paul McAleer. I'm a member and Secretary of the Maritime Union of Australia's Sydney branch, and also a member of the Communist Party of Australia. I'd like to start by acknowledging country. We are on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay respects to elders present and emerging, and we've always recognised these lands as unceded. Our workplaces throughout the MUA Sydney branch are on the lands and waters of the Eora people, and we respect that, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to return it back to the Eora people. These lands and waters that we're on today are as close, or were as close to pristines as humans could ever hope to achieve. They were lands and waters that had deep connections through stories and culture. And what a shame it is on all of us white fellas that we refuse to accept and acknowledge the beautiful traditions that are available to us if we only would open our hearts, our minds, our eyes and our ears. This isn't the domain. This is Jabbergali. It always has been a place of culture for tens of thousands of years. Since humans were first here, we have celebrated, we have acted in solidarity, and we've done that in peace. We in the MUA Sydney branch recognise this contribution not only through acknowledging it, but fighting for its return. A meaningful, just outcome for this area would be for it to be recognised as Jabbergali and returned to the Gadigal people for their custodianship and for their ceremonies once again. The Maritime Union of Australia and the Sydney branch in particular has a deep and historical connection to the struggles of Aboriginal people. Ever since the Communist Party of Australia and their leadership on the waterfront in the 1920s have wharfies, port workers and seafarers recognised that these lands have and always will be Aboriginal land, that these communities have always been working class, and we've always had to fight for justice. We've had multiple communities down here, including Millers Point, Dawes Point and the Rocks, that were fought for by wharfies, port workers and maritime workers, and were stolen from us as well. Auntie Rhonda, who's here with us today, has a 5-generation connection to the Sydney waterfront. Her father, Chicka Dixon, was one of our union's finest members. A radical Aboriginal man fighting for justice for his community and the broader working class. It's deeply sad and offensive to our so-called modern civilisation that those of us who fight for equality and who fight for justice are deemed radicals and subversives. Yet it is also with pride that we deem ourselves as radicals and subversives. If fighting to achieve the outcomes we are folk struggling for is deemed hostile to the interests of the ruling class, then we are doing our jobs. No politician, no police officer, no judge, and indeed no army will stop our fight for justice. Will stop our fight for Aboriginal people. Will stop our fight for justice for the working class. For there will never be justice for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in this country. There will be no justice for the working class in this country without justice for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We've been asked to come here today not only because of our solidarity and commitment to justice that we share with you all, but because it is far less likely in this current environment for a trade union to be brutalised than our Aboriginal brothers and sisters. And I stand here ashamed that this is the case. But I want you all to know that no matter what the cost, that no matter what the fight or the sacrifices that we may be asked to go through, I will be there with you. The MUA Sydney branch will be with you until we achieve it. The Black Lives Matter movement in the United States has once again put the issue of black lives on the international agenda. The working class are at the forefront of this struggle, along with many trade unions. Longshoremen, the dockers, the wharfies of the United States, the ILWU and the ILA have stopped the job to ensure that their members recognise that Black Lives Matter, to show solidarity with black people and to demonstrate that working class justice is about going on the streets and fighting for it and stopping the job when we have to as well. I want to send a big shout out to my comrades Willie Adams and his team at the ILWU and Dennis Agate and his ILA team for their solidarity and practical support for equality and justice. We have seen that rotten orangutan Trump come out and attack the left wing for their support of Black Lives Matter, for wanting to highlight the continued injustices that exist in our communities, for having the audacity to pull down statues and riot against their oppression. How dare a wannabe billionaire lecture us about what is right, about our fight, when he, as the architect and chief protagonist of destroying lives and communities, attempts to shatter the myth that all are equal under the law. The United States is a myth, and that is, at its heart and soul, it has been believed to be founded on those very same principles. The people of the United States have fought back, and through revolt have achieved substantial outcomes, and this is a lesson to us all. If we are to achieve those same outcomes in Australia, then the same means will have to be engaged in. Knocking over statues of slave owners and murderers of First Nations peoples throughout the West is not a crime. It is a necessity. Not only to ensure that our communities aren't ravaged by these blights, but to highlight that we have moved on from the belief that an Aboriginal's life is less in value to the rest of the community. I am ashamed that statues continue to adorn this city that glorify the contribution of madmen, of psychopaths, of rapists, of murderers, of genocidalists. I walked past a statue of a man named Captain Cook up there in Hyde Park. And on that statue it says that he discovered this territory. That's a crime against history, and it must be brought down. For 250 years, Aboriginal people have been murdered in this country to entrench the capitalist system of exploitation of nature and of human beings to make a small percentage of people live lives of comfort and pleasure, not realising these half-wits that Aboriginal peoples have been living on these lands through millennia by committing to harmony and balance and by achieving societies based on our best values, not our worst. Peace and equality will only be restored once again in these lands and waters when the institutions that allow them to thrive are demolished. Not just the statues, but the institutions and the laws themselves, the systems of oppression, the systems of brutality and the systems of racism. That's what needs to be destroyed. $250 billion, think about that. $250 billion has been announced by the so-called leader of this country. $250 billion spent in the next 10 years on wars. On fighting who? Every single country and every single people that have only threatened Australia's security have had a war waged against them. And the first of those was the Aboriginal people, and that war continues to this day. Our politicians remind us that violence must be used to fight our enemies. Well, isn't it time that we reflected the very same principle? We have seen billions and billions of dollars spent on weapons of war to defend capitalism, defending our imperialist ambitions throughout our region and beyond. None of that money, or not close enough of that money, has been spent on the gap on healthcare, education, and investments in our communities. We know that the working class commit crimes due to impoverishment. The solution is not jail for grocery thieves, but jail for the wage thieves. Capitalism is the ultimate crime. It is the ultimate racket. And it is the only one that is legal. It criminalises poverty and rewards the greediest among us. Our prisons are overpopulated with Aboriginal people. You people are the most incarcerated people on earth. And why? And how did this happen? Why do so many continue to die? And why aren't the recommendations of the Royal Commissions and inquiries put into effect? I'll tell you why. Because this country and its institutions are fundamentally, at their core, racist. Here today, we have all heard the tragic stories from the many families that continue to live with the memory of their murdered loved ones. I want to thank you all for coming today. Many of you from throughout New South Wales. I want to thank you for not only coming today and sharing your pain with us all, but also coming today to remind us of the strength that we each have within us, of the courage that we all have within us. I want to thank you for letting us understand the generational torture that comes with these assaults and murders. It is not enough for us only to reflect on these crimes, but we must bring justice to those that have committed them. We must do so if these victims have ever the chance to rest in peace. Capitalism is a sick system that denies justice to all of us. It denies the value of black lives by trampling on the most successful culture and civilisation that exists today. Aboriginal and First Nations people around the world remind us all that there is an alternative to this willful destruction of nature and people for profit. I want to congratulate you all on your continued fight for justice, that despite the crimes and atrocities committed against you, you still rise. You still rise to stare down evil. You still rise to stare down injustice against brutality and oppression, and you fight. Fighting for the greatest values that humanity can strive for. Aboriginal people must not be ignored. For if we listen and learn, Aboriginal and First Nations people can provide us all with the answers to all of the problems that we are experiencing today. The MUA Sydney branch has for 100 years fought for justice for Aboriginal communities, and we will continue fighting until justice is achieved. Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Solidarity, comrades. The MUA Sydney branch and all those who fight for justice will continue to stand with you. Thanks very much.
And right now we're going to have the beautiful Auntie Rhonda and Sister Nadina close our rally today. So I welcome the beautiful law of the land. These are the landlords right here, people. So yeah, pay respects.
we open this sacred ceremony, and now we're going to close this sacred ceremony here with our beautiful people and our communities. Everyone here, we acknowledge our Tamil brothers, Indigenous people here today that came. We acknowledge our Afro-American brother that spoke. We acknowledge our beautiful people and relations that came here to speak and open their hearts and tell their stories about the loss of their beautiful sons and their beautiful daughters. I hope that you're listening deeply as we do. Listen with your heart.
I just want to say that we're here today because we refuse to see ourselves separated. That separation is an illusion. We're one family on the earth, and if we don't come together and fight for the mother, we're all going to suffer. Everyone will. So this is the time now that we've been asked to transcend. We have to evolve to that next spiritual level. We have to learn from the lessons that Mother's still talking to us. We have to heal now, and we've got to make things right. So I will just say my last words, which is Nangamai Mari. Nangamai. Nangamai Mari. That means dream big. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the supporters that are here today and all the mothers and fathers that came forward and said their stories. And you've all been in the coroner's courts where they dictated the death of our children. And it's sad to wait. I waited 2 weeks and I sat 2 weeks in the courthouse waiting for them to finish the dictation of the death, what they done to my son. And so I asked the union to help me, and they are here today, and I thank them very, very much, all the unions around in Sydney, for being here and supported us and to make this march happen today, and for us all to be here and speak out from the past to the present. And let's pull up these cases, as I say, cold cases. Let's pull them up, and where they thought they buried them, they put them under the earth with no dictation. So let's pull it, and I'm very proud of all the ladies that got up and spoke, and gentlemen, in the behalf of their child that can't speak, which I'm here speaking for my son, and for everyone else's son and daughter, to come forward and let's fight and get this justice. And let these people know that we are black people and our black lives do matter. And let's beat this racism system and let them turn around the dictation of their lies and be accountable for every murder, what they've done in incarceration or outside prisons. So thank you people for all your support, and it's all strong, and let's keep strong. And on 28th of July, there'll be another march for David Dungay Jr. and for all of your children that passed away. Please come and speak your mind, because this is the only time, and this is the time we can do it, while we've got the support of the union. And I hope on the 26th, a white man build that bridge, Sydney Harbour Bridge. Well, they built that on our land, and it's about time we walk over that bridge on the 26th of January. daughters here today, all around the world and Australia. Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody, thank you to the aunties, thank you to every single family, thank you to every single one of you. But now we got a bit of a harder job. We got to make sure everyone gets out of here safely without being fucking brutalised by the police that we saw happen only a couple of weeks ago. So let's, give each other a bit of space. We want to actually try and walk out of here, but obviously the police are going to try to maybe not let us all walk together. So let's try and do some safety shit. Let the families get out first. Aunt, are you ready? Auntie Ladina, and we're going to walk out of here peacefully. Oh yes, actually, please, anybody standing around here right now, thank you, sister. Any rubbish beside you, please pick it up. We don't want to look like Australia Day mongoose. So yeah, thank you. Love you. And we'll be back, because we're black. And I hope you'll all come back with us. As you said, get on the Facebook, get on social media, follow these families, follow their campaigns. And I think the 13th, of July, if you're around, get to Lidcombe Coroner's Court and support that Chatfield family that you heard speak here today. Because they're going to go through hell. So get there, get your support, get your solidarity right, and we'll see you again. Much love, get home safe, please.
Say his name, 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 won't you say his name?
Too many coppers!